are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel. John is back at John Tweet Sports on Twitter. Longtime friend of the show, John. Thanks for coming back, filling in for Clint this fine Friday. Happy Friday to you, sir.
Happy Friday. Thanks for having me back. Clint, it's very big shoes to fill.
It is. That's a different tune than you were singing yesterday.
Well, fortunately I wear a size 14, so
that is wow. We're just not going to get in. We're not going to get into the semantics of that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Thanks for being here. This is a podcast for fans and by fans. And so if you're a Georgia fan, we think that you've come to the right place. If you're a fan of another team and you like jumping into the comments of a Georgia fan podcast, then I know for a fact you've come to the right place. Florida fans, welcome. Welcome to the comments. We're happy to have you. Alabama fans, you are having the most national championship offseason of any fan base I've ever seen. You are winning this offseason like nobody's business.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to you. You're doing great. I'm sure next year is your year. I mean, you keep saying that over and over again. We've heard that for like 500 days now. Like next year's our year from Alabama fans. And yeah.
Well, last year was the worst Alabama team in the history of Alabama.
History of Alabama football.
And now they're going to go from the worst Alabama team in the history of Alabama football to what I'm hearing is going to be the best Alabama team in the history of Alabama football.
And they're going to do that by losing several key players and returning the same players that made them the worst team in the history of Alabama football.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
You know, they upgraded in wide receiver though. Because
they did. They stole our wide receiver, man. They stole him right out from under. They killed us.
Yeah,
they killed us there.
I mean, I'm hearing that he's better than Jameson Williams. And
that's I think we're all hearing that.
I'm hearing it's a done deal. So
it's look, welcome. Glad that you're here. If you're listening on audio, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for joining us today. We got a great show today. We're talking about G-Day because John, G-Day. It's not tomorrow. That would be awesome if G-Day was tomorrow. That'd be fantastic. But G-Day is 1 week from tomorrow. Am I reading the calendar right? It cannot possibly be that soon.
We are pushing into April. It's actually, G-Day is coming down upon us very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's quick. It's coming quick.
I personally cannot wait.
You're going to be there. I do not think I'm going to make it, but still holding out hope. But we're all going to be watching. G-Day is a beautiful day if you're a Georgia fan because for several reasons. One, it's football. It's on your TV. It's the red and black. There's going to be pageantry and national championship banners and things like that are going to be, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a great time. But two, it gives you an opportunity to see a lot of these football players. It gives you an opportunity to see a lot of guys, get a lot of reps. And three, maybe the best part about G-Day, a tradition unlike any other, some would say, is listening to people completely blow things out of proportion that they see at G-Day. And so I personally cannot wait for that. That is the thing that I am most looking forward to about G-Day. Okay, so we're going to kind of go quickly through several of these things. And so we'll kind of have a bit of a list ready. But let's talk about some things that you are really looking forward to seeing on that Saturday at G-Day. John, I'll let you go first, and then we'll see where the conversation takes us.
Well, so Kirby Smart has said openly that Georgia is very thin at wide receiver and is as thin as they have ever been in his 7 years at Georgia at defensive back.
Okay.
I don't know that I believe that to be true.
It cannot possibly be true.
Could be some Kirby speak. But I am excited.
I can't even imagine that they're thinner than they were last year this time at defensive back.
No way. So I am excited to see the defensive backs. I'm excited to see Kamari Lassiter. I'm excited to see, I'm excited to see guys like Dan Jackson, who we saw a lot of. But that defensive back group, there is a lot of talent there. There's Kamari Lassiter, there's Nyland Green, there's Keely Ringo, obviously, Javon Bullard. Like, there's a lot of guys in that rotation. So I am excited to see the talent on display and kind of correlate that to some of the comments that Kirby has made. I'm also excited, besides defensive back, like I think the linebacker position is always intriguing. I love G-Day because you get to see the linebackers that, at all positions, but we'll say linebackers for now, you get to see those guys that are going to be the next up, right? Like you get to see
absolutely
Nakobe Dean before he was Nakobe Dean. And this year you get to see Jamon Dumas Johnson. You get to see some of these guys out there. So I'm pumped to see the specifically for me, the linebacker and the defensive back core is going to be very intriguing to watch.
Yeah, I look forward to that as well. Lot of young talent at linebacker, and it's going to be fascinating to see who plays and who plays where. I think there's some intrigue to me about like who plays where, who plays with who. There's some, and so there's going to be a lot of intrigue there. I got a couple guys, couple names that I'll give you when we come back from break that I'm really excited to see. Curious to hear some names from you as well. But first, I want to let the good people know about Built Bar. Built Bar is, as we've said on this podcast many times over, the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. It is, in fact, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And so maybe you're saying to yourself, I don't like protein bars. Protein bars taste like you're eating modeling clay. They don't taste like anything. They don't come in any good flavors. They all kind of taste chalky. They have this weird texture to them. Built Bar gets all of that out. They're soft, they're chewy, they are delicious, and they taste like a candy bar. Wide variety of delicious flavors, caramel, chocolate, fruit. Whatever your preference, Built Bar has you covered. And right now, you go to BuiltBar.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDON15, and you get 15% off your first order. That's 15% off your first order at BuiltBar.com when you're in the promo code LOCKEDON15. High in protein, high in fiber, low in sugar. Built Bar, the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. All right, John, when I think about G-Day, and I'll give you my first name. I'm going to go to the offensive side of the ball. I think the guy most likely to make you say, wow, at G-Day, of every player on the field, is Oscar Delp. I think Oscar Delp has a chance to have a spectacular day. And I don't know if it's going to translate into very much production this fall, because the reason he has a chance to have a spectacular day is he is one of two tight ends on the roster. And he's going to play at G-Day, that's for sure. He's going to need the ice bath after G-Day. All right. And Kirby's already mentioned they're as thin at wide receiver as they've ever been. He is going to be a favorite target of whichever quarterback is throwing him the ball. And let's just call it what it is, John. Oscar Delp's got a ton of talent. He's got a ton of athleticism. He's not built like your grandfather's tight end. He is much more cut from the, dare I say, Brock Bowers cloth, in the sense that he can run away from you. He's a precision route runner. He's got a great pair of hands. He can do things that typical tight ends can't do. And I think you're going to have him going up and over the middle early and often in this game. And it's going to leave you wondering, again, with the overreactions to G-Day, what will this mean come this fall? Because maybe you didn't think that A.D. Mitchell last year, there were no wide receivers healthy. I don't know if you recall last season at G-Day.
Yeah.
There were no wide receivers healthy. And so A.D. Mitchell just said, you know what I'll do? I'll catch every pass that Stetson Bennett throws. I will catch every single one of them. And that's exactly what he did. And then we all looked at ourselves and said, yeah. But I mean, Don Blaylock and Arian Smith
Jackson.
and Kearis Jackson and Jermaine Burton. And then A.D. Mitchell just said, I'll take all your reps. I'll take them all. Alabama's best wide receiver this season just lost playing time to A.D. Mitchell last year. So you never know what these G-Day performances might translate into. But Oscar Delp is a name that I'm very excited about, John.
Yeah, I love that. I think for me, I'm not going to give you a young guy that I'm very excited about. I'm excited about seeing all of them. I think for the reasons that you listed with A.D. Mitchell, I felt that same way last year, and I was like, oh, it's G-Day. The kids flash at G-Day. I'm interested though to see Kearis Jackson and Dominic Blaylock, the form that they are in, because these are two guys that were brought in, and Kearis Jackson led Georgia, 2 seasons ago in receiving. Dominic Blaylock flashed a lot, when he hasn't been injured, and I've heard a lot, and so I'm interested in seeing where those guys are developmentally at G-Day, just to see, because I think the young guys, I agree. I mean, I think we're going to have some guys on that side of the ball because of necessity, with having to get reps, and truly how thin we are because players are banged up. I think you're going to have some guys flash because it's G-Day and you got talented athletic guys on the field. I am interested to see some of those veteran guys, where they are in terms of the chemistry with the quarterbacks, in terms of how they look coming off the ball and running their routes and catching the ball. Because nothing would make me feel better than to see Kearis Jackson in 2020 form, or Dominic Blaylock in healthy and out there catching balls on G-Day. So I'm excited to see that. And I think if you move down from there, there's a guy named Eric Gilbert that has been practicing with the University of Georgia that is going to get some
I've heard.
reps.
I was going to bring his name up.
So we can talk about that if you want to dive into that.
Will he play? I mean, I think it's the first question everyone's asking G-Day. We don't even know if he's going to be on the field playing.
We don't know
in G-Day. But that is a potential big deal if he is on the field. But maybe just to go back to your earlier point, because you said something that got the blood flowing here a little bit, got the juices going. If I see Don Blaylock out there running around, running by people, making cuts, hitting a little deep middle action in the field, if I see that, T's and P's to the bank account, because I'm cruising over to BetOnline and I'm laying down a significant chunk of coin on a repeat performance for the Georgia Bulldogs to win the national championship, because You got some known commodities. Now they might be thin. Kirby is a practice guy. He needs competition, he needs reps, whatever. I only need about 4 healthy wide receivers. And you got some proven commodities over there, right? It starts with the one-day Heisman Trophy winner, Brock Bowers. And then you go to A.D. Mitchell.
Mhm.
But if you give me healthy peak Don Blaylock, and you throw him in the mix as a third weapon, and then you have the security blanket of Kearis Jackson that you already mentioned. Now all of a sudden I've got 4 guys, not even counting Darnell Washington, not even counting Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, who many of those guys I have confidence in. But I've got 4 guys that I absolutely love for them to be targeted in these games. And Georgia's got some weapons.
If Georgia starts the season, let's just lay it out real quickly. If Georgia starts the season with Lab McConkey, Kearis Jackson, Brock Bowers, Arian Smith, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, Don Blaylock, all healthy, how do you feel?
Darnell Washington.
And Darnell Washington, we'll throw him in there. Yes. But how do you feel if you start the season with those guys in a healthy position on the field, running routes, catching balls?
I feel fine because I don't play safety for the other team. You understand? Like, that's why I feel tremendous. But if you play safety for the University of Oregon, sorry about that. Sorry about that. It's gonna be
Oregon's got Bo Nix, so it's gonna be shootout.
I literally until this moment had forgotten for about a day and a half that Bo Nix played for Oregon. Thank you so much, John. It's a welcome gift. All right, we're coming back. First, I want to talk to you about the fine folks over at BetOnline.net. I was not speaking hyperbolically. I actually mean that I will take a large sum of money and I will go to BetOnline.net, your online sportsbook experts, the only sportsbook that Clint and I trust, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. And I will go to betonline.net because they've got the college football futures. They've got the Heisman props. They've got the NBA playoff futures. They've got the NHL, the Stanley Cup stuff. They've got the Masters stuff already up and running. All of this can be found and more at BetOnline. And when you go there right now, enter the promo code Locked On. They give you a bonus on your initial deposit. So that's free money that you have to use to wager. The Final Four is tomorrow, so no better time than right now to get over there, get your money in, get it right. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. Promo code Locked On gets you a bonus on your initial deposit at betonline.net. Next name I'll give you, John, is back on the defensive side of the ball, and he's a young guy, but he's not a freshman. But his name's MJ Sherman, and he's a guy that this season I am really looking forward to seeing what he can do coming off the edge. Obviously, Georgia lost some guys on the edge. Georgia has plenty of returning talent on the defensive line, defensive front. But they did lose some talent coming off the edge. And let's be honest, when Adam Anderson went off the team in the middle of the year, there was a void there even before the season ended, coming off the edge. Some people thought that was going to cost Georgia a national championship. It did not. All it did was maybe get Trayvon Walker the number 1 overall pick in the draft, because I think that's where that shift happened, and you began to see Trayvon utilized more and more in the defense. Obviously, all those guys are gone. And so can a guy like MJ Sherman, very talented player, will we see him make an impact this G-Day? What unit will he be running with? How much play will he get? And can Can he make an impact? That's a guy I'm looking at this G-Day because he's a guy that I'm looking at this season and asking myself, can this be the year that he really vaults himself onto the scene?
Yeah, I agree. I think, for me, I think William Poole is in a similar situation. Obviously, has been around a lot longer than MJ Sherman.
Forever, I'm pretty sure.
This is his 6th year. This is 6th
Yeah.
year. Something I'm interested to see, and we won't be able to tell this at G-Day, but maybe there will be some hints there. How much of whatever clicked between the SEC championship game and the college football playoff and the national championship game, where you had William Poole out there, playing much better than we've seen him play. I'm interested to see how that translates. Now that you have, you're going to have competition with Tyke Smith. You're going to have, guys out there pushing that role, and I'm just I'm curious to see if there is a step up that someone like MJ Sherman can make in your example, someone like William Poole could make in the example that I'm talking about here. It'll be interesting to see. I also, I mentioned his name earlier, but I'm very excited to see Kamari Lassiter play. I'm excited to see that kid play ball at the University of Georgia, and on G-Day, I think he will get his opportunity to run with the ones, and I'm really excited to see what he has in the tank.
It does not require a master's degree in Curbinese to know that when Kirby Smart goes out of his way to bring you up and praise you as a true freshman defensive back,
yes,
you should probably pay attention to that guy's name. Like, that's a name that you should probably file away. And this might be the year that we see it brought to light. I love all those. I'll maybe end us with this one because I mean, I don't know, John. We've gone. You were on here yesterday. We had a great time.
Yeah.
You're back on here today. We talked about a lot of players.
We should just keep this going, Clint. Whatever Clint is doing,
we're all saying it. We're all thinking it. It's just, from your lips to God's ears, John. But by golly, we've hardly brought up a quarterback's name at all over these last couple of days, John. And so what if I were to just end with this? Last year at G-Day, we did not get the full Brock Vandagriff experience. The kid gloves were on last year at G-Day. He was brand new out of the chute. Didn't really have the lay of the land yet. And last year during the season, obviously, anytime that Brock Vandagriff got in the game, we didn't really see very much out of him.
Listen,
go ahead.
Brock Vandagriff ran the scout team all last year. Scout team does not run the offense that the 1s and 2s are running in practice for Georgia.
That's correct.
So when he got in the game, that's what people were seeing, right? Getting some game experience, but it was not the offense that Georgia's running. And I think this is where you're going, and I'll let you finish your thought, but Brock has had a season to learn the offense, and you're going to get to see him running the actual offense that the University of Georgia
That's exactly, and you're going to get to see him throwing to real wideouts. Like, you're going to get to see him throwing to actual scholarship players.
Yeah.
And I know you don't get the full Brock Vandalay Industries experience because you can't hit the quarterback at G-Day. So you can't run him. He's not going to be doing a lot of – you'll see him use his legs, I'm sure, to scramble around, get outside, throw a ball. But you can't hit the quarterback, and so you're not going to get that full experience. But we are going to get to see, I believe, for the first time, Brock Vandagriff really go out there for multiple series in this game and run offense. Like, I'm not talking about multiple plays. I'm talking about multiple series, long stretches of the game. He's going to be out there running offense. You're going to see him checking plays to the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him getting into sets. You're going to see him making different kinds of throws. You're going to see him maybe doing zone read type concepts in the backfield. You're going to see a lot from Brock Vandagriff that you haven't seen yet. And no matter where you stand on the quarterback race, that should be exciting to you because this is a very talented kid. He played a very valuable role, as you mentioned, scout team quarterback last year for the national championship team. I happen to remember another quarterback who used to run the scout team, and his name was Stetson Bennett. And then he became the national championship winning quarterback at the University of Georgia. So
you've just named two generational quarterbacks.
Two
Brock
Vandagriff
Industries and Stetson Bennett.
That is correct. So I'm excited about that. I've been waiting to see this kid for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we'll see out of him this year. I don't know what's going to happen with him and Carson Beck in terms of the backup job. But I do know that I like the potential that this kid brings to the table. And I would love to see some flash here at G-Day to give me something to whet the appetite a little bit moving forward.
I'm excited to see, and we'll see how the actual rosters shake out. But if history tells the tale, you're going to get to see Brock Vandagriff and Daijun Edwards on the same field together. Who is another one? You talk about potential. We haven't even mentioned his name.
Let me tell you, just now. I told you that Dom Blaylock out there running crisp, clean routes was gonna get the juices going. But you give me Brock Vandagriff Industries, who we all know exports touchdowns, imports wins. You give me that kid running a zone read concept in the backfield with Daijun Edwards. And I may fall out right there in the middle of G-Day. I may just hit the floor, say, Lord, take me now, because I've seen everything that I need to see. That's another kid that, you just said it. Kendall Milton, you should be talking about him. You should be talking about Kendall Milton. Kenny McIntosh, we know who this kid is. Best hands on the team, Kenny McIntosh. But don't you dare sleep on Daijun Edwards this year, because that kid has got Brian Herrien written all over him. And Brian Herrien is another kid. You just could not keep him off the field because he was tougher and meaner and worked harder than everybody else. And that is who Daijun Edwards reminds me of. All right, John, thanks for being here. Excited to have you on the show these last couple of days. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Final Four. Enjoy the last NCAA tournament before Georgia begins to make it again each and every year on the Mike White experience. So enjoy these last couple of games of college basketball, and we will be back on Monday talking all things Georgia football. This is the Locked On Bulldogs podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll see you next week.
See ya.